A three-time World Superbike champion just called the slowest engineering department in MotoGP incredible, and Yamaha should be terrified. Because when Toprak Razgatlioglu asked his engineers when they would finally change a part, the answer was not next week. It was maybe 7 months. The headlines ran with the obvious version. Frustrated champion blasts slow Japanese engineers. Except that is the exact opposite of what happened. Toprak was not attacking anyone. He was in love with the very thing that is quietly ending his prime. So what did he actually say? And why is his happiness the most dangerous signal to come out of that garage all season? Think about who is saying this. Not a rookie grateful to be there. A rider who braked later than physics should allow to win 3 World Superbike titles. A man whose entire identity is built on refusing to wait for anyone. That rider looked at a factory measuring progress in seasons instead of weekends and said he loves it. And the timing makes it worse. This praise landed the same week a respected paddock voice reported that Yamaha holds out almost no hope of building him a competitive bike before 2028. So one side of the garage is preaching patience. The other side has already done the math on his career. Only one of them seems to know it. Let us go back to what Toprak actually said, because the full quote changes everything. Talking about the Japanese engineers, he described them like this. The Japanese, the working, the complete details. They are working a little bit slow. That sounds like the setup for a complaint. It is not. Because he kept going. He walked through the conversation itself. I'm asking, when you changing something? They say, soon. But when? Maybe 7 months. And then the line, nobody put on a thumbnail. But they are 7 months later. Come back. It's incredible. The Japanese working? I love this. He was not venting. He was defending them. Toprak went further and framed the whole thing as a lesson he is grateful to learn, saying he is learning from the Japanese, that everyone works slow, but in the end, they come back really strong. Read that back. A champion in the back half of his career, watching a manufacturer take more than half a season to move one component. And his takeaway is admiration. Not alarm, admiration. And that is where this stops being a story about slow engineers and becomes a story about something far more expensive. Here is the context that makes his contentment so strange. This is not a rider quietly building momentum in the midfield. In his first MotoGP season, Toprak has been stuck at the very back. At one round, he scored his first Premier Class points down in 15th, and afterward he was blunt in a way the engineer interview never was. His words were, I'm happy, but not really. I got a point, this is good, but in general, 25 seconds behind, this is not really good. Over 25 seconds. That is the distance between a 3-time champion and the front of a MotoGP race, with all 4 Yamahas filling the back of the grid. So there are 2 versions of this man giving interviews in the same season. One says the deficit is not really good, that even finishing ahead of Fabio Quartararo felt hollow, because, in his words, still we are together, this is not nice. The other says the factory that built that deficit is incredible, and he loves how they work. Both are real. Both are him. And the second version is the one Yamaha desperately needs to be true. And here is the part almost nobody connected to his praise. Right as Toprak was calling Yamaha incredible, the respected MotoGP journalist David Emmett reported something the factory has never said out loud. Citing a Yamaha insider, he wrote that there is not, in his words, much hope of giving Toprak a genuinely competitive bike until 2028. Not this season. Not next. 2028. The reason is the reset itself. Yamaha tore up its old inline engine and switched to a V4 for 2026. And when you change the entire architecture of an engine, you throw away years of hard-won knowledge. Every setting, every assumption has to be relearned from zero. Now put the 2 facts side by side. A development pace of, in Toprak's own telling, 7 months to change a single part, and a competitive machine that insiders do not expect before 2028. Do that math against a rider who is already deep into his career. Every 7-month cycle Yamaha burns is a slice of prime. A champion nearing 30 does not get back. He is being asked to stay patient with a clock that does not start turning in his favour until his best years are already behind him. And still, he says he loves it. That is not a rider who has been fooled. Toprak knows exactly how far back he is. So why would a racer this hungry make peace with a timeline this brutal? That is the real question. And the answer is uncomfortable. Here is what this was never about. It was never about slow engineers. Toprak calling Yamaha slow was never the threat to Yamaha. His comfort with it is. Think about what a struggling factory actually needs from the star it cannot currently serve. It does not need him angry. An angry champion leaks. An angry champion agitates. An angry champion starts taking meetings with rival manufacturers and forces the timeline to move. What a factory deep in a multi-year rebuild needs is a champion who waits quietly, smiles at the delays, and calls the process incredible in public. Toprak is handing them exactly that. People thought this story was a rider criticising his team. It is the opposite. This is a rider absorbing the cost of his team's rebuild and thanking them for it. That is the belief flip. The slow engineers were never the danger. His patience is the asset Yamaha cannot afford to lose, precisely because it is the one thing keeping their most valuable rider from doing the math out loud. And that is the trap, for him and for everyone watching, because contentment looks like maturity. It looks like a champion who has grown, who trusts the process, who finally understands the long game. But at a certain point in a career, trusting the long game becomes the same thing as agreeing to lose the short one. So let us be honest about what we are looking at. The danger to Toprak Razgatlioglu was never that he is frustrated with Yamaha. The danger is that he is not. One of the hardest, most impatient racers of his generation has looked at a factory that privately does not expect to build him a winning bike until 2028 and decided to call it incredible. That is not the sound of a problem being solved. That is the sound of a problem being accepted. Yamaha has no reason to hurry as long as Toprak keeps talking like this. His praise buys them time they have not earned, and time is the one currency he cannot get back. Every season he spends being the good soldier is a season a rider this talented should have spent fighting for podiums, not defending 7-month development cycles to a camera. Make no mistake, a happy Toprak is not proof the project is working. It may be the clearest proof yet that the project has already decided it can make him wait. So the real question is not whether Yamaha is too slow. It is whether Toprak just admitted he will wait longer than his prime can afford. Patience or surrender? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.